So here I am talking about AI again, as if not everybody's talking about AI. But this time, it's not like a random update about how things have gotten so much better. Yes, there have been a couple more developments in AI over the past week. That's a little bit odd, and of like not too much of a big leap. Their voice generation AIs are getting a little bit weirder. One of them today I saw was kind of creepy, the way it laughed and stuff like that. But yeah, that's about it. Like, new generations of AI art or AI image generation has been updated again this week, not on like a bigger level like it was like 2 weeks ago, where Midjourney and ChatGPT came out with their new versions and a hit and everybody was raving about it. There have been small updates since that's constantly changing the way they're functioning, making them more accurate and giving them more updates. But at this point, that's not really a big deal because they can't really get much more accurate than they're getting right now. They can get a little bit more accurate, but not that much more. They cannot actually get more realistic anymore because the new generations from both ChatGPT and Midjourney especially, is photorealistic. You won't even be able to tell the difference between taking it with a camera and taking it and having it generated on Midjourney. And the fact is, you can literally give Midjourney the title of that your camera gives your images, and it will replicate exactly how that camera takes the photos, to the point where you won't be able to tell it apart from the camera or the photo it generated, which is all cool, but not really the point of this video. It's more AI is like starting to get people pretty scared. I saw a video that Asmongold did, and it was showing a clip from a little interview, and the entire video of the interview was AI generated, and they were talking about how it's easy to tell because like the fingers on the person holding the mic, all of a sudden they went from 5 fingers to 6. When they moved their hand up, they had more fingers on the bottom, so they had more fingers than you should have, and how the voice audio didn't exactly match the lip sync audio, so the girl talking didn't really match the voice that was coming out, which is fine. It's easy to tell stuff like that, but that can also be a cause of, from video editing, sometimes your audio gets desynced and you don't realize it's desynced and you don't fix it before you finish editing the video and actually have it coded out so that you can have a video to watch. So yeah, these mistakes do happen in real life also, that some of these mistakes are happening on these videos that AI generated, and some of them seem more on purpose than a mistake the AI actually made, or a mistake it was made during the AI being rendered. So that's one thing you have to pay attention to also, that some of these mistakes are intentional, such as the new voice models. They actually make intentional mispronunciation so that they can sound more human, which is a very interesting thing on its own, about how people are using the tools or AI as a tool to generate all kinds of stuff to make it seem like they didn't use AI for some reason, which doesn't make any sense at this point, because everybody knows AI is so rampant that you don't have to try to fake that you didn't use AI, that you did it without AI. At this point, it doesn't make any much of a difference. But that's also something I've noticed with these newer versions of these updated versions of whatever AI systems are coming out. They're becoming less creative and more directed. So the new versions of Midjourney, like, even though you can put in a prompt that's very vague, like you can just put in quotation marks and you can get stuff back, this usually gives you random garbage unless you create a profile and you set up the types of images you like and create a whole setting for yourself. Then when you put in the quotation marks, you get back something that's more catered to what you actually put in over the images. For example, I created my own set and I used 500 images that I generated over the entire time I used Midjourney, so that it had a set of what I want to use as my art style for Midjourney. Putting in the quotation marks, I pretty much got back like spaceships and stars and stuff like that, which is the gathered set of images that I used. That was predominantly what was in them. So it gave me back something that I actually inputted in a sense, which I think is a good thing, because like I said almost 2 years ago, AI art is going to take over, but it's not just going to be people that write prompts that's going to make good AI art. The people that's going to make the best art using AI are going to be artists. They're going to use something they drew, and then AI is going to be able to modify it and bring it more to life, or add better colors and all this stuff to make it like larger on a much faster scale so they can finish stuff much faster, which is really what it would be a good use of. And I've seen good AI art, and I've seen good images that were generated specifically just from text they put in. But the ones that have been really, really cool is ones that are generated where text that was put in, but they also had an image to start with, that the AI can take the image and then it can modify the image and bring you something better based on that image. And a lot of times it leaves a lot of what was in that image there and just made it a little bit better. For instance, the last thumbnail I did on my last video was just a picture of the horizon. It doesn't look AI generated, but my thumbnail was actually pretty much completely AI generated. I only added some text to overlay, but the picture itself was AI generated. I took a picture of the Blue Horizon capsule thing, and then I just put it in Midjourney and asked it to create a launch bay for the Blue Horizon. And that's what it did, which is why the text on the Blue Horizon doesn't actually say Blue Horizon. It's just random text, because that's what I left, was random text. But Midjourney took the image of the capsule. It remade the image of the capsule almost exactly the same. The only thing that's different is the text on it. And it made the entire launch bay also. So it made a full launch bay instead of just the small image I had of just the capsule. Just the rocket, basically. Made the rocket on the launch bay, ground, everything, the cars around it. It put all that stuff in the image so it looks like a launch that's ready to go. That's not the original picture I had. I applied my style to it. I didn't use that image, but it came out even cooler because then it looks a little bit more futuristic. It looked almost exactly the same, but then it added, like, instead of having the Blue Horizon using regular rockets, it used more sci-fi like rockets. So it had like plasma and stuff around the rocket, so it's ready to take off. Still look like an actual photo though. It doesn't look like it was 3D made, and it doesn't look like CGI. It looked like an actual photo still. And that's why I think the new versions of AI is actually gearing towards, they're gearing towards actual tools that we can use on an everyday basis to make our life a lot easier. But also, like, it will impact the amount of jobs there are out there. Like, it will take away certain jobs. Like, for instance, video editing software I'm trying to practice with using that I just got is DaVinci. It's doing its current update, which is funny because their new version released like 3 months ago, finished releasing 3 months ago. It's not even completed. Their last update was not even 3 months ago. And now they're released their beta version for their newest version, and it has quite a lot of AI systems in it. It has AI for helping you edit your audio, helping you edit your videos, everything. They put AI into their entire thing. They even put AI voiceover changer to help that you can actually put in, build your own model of your actual voice with audio clips and transcriptions, and then you can use that model to actually change the voice of anyone in your actual scenes. And I understand what it's for. It's for maybe you build a voice of your own, of yourself, and then say you record someplace that's super loud, and then there's a lot of stuff that gets in your way. There's a lot of noisy things. You can highlight a part of your voice that you're talking, and you can just change that part of your voice to be clearer and sound a lot better. Or you can even change mistakes you made in something you said that you want to change it to say something different without having to reshoot an entire scene. You can just replace it just like that. It's AI generated, but at the same time, you put in a lot more work than most people would think, because it's not just generated by AI, it's generated as an assistant to you. And yes, I think this direction that AI is moving, and the way the new things that are coming out to be used for AI and how it's actually interacting with people instead of just trying to replace a person, is a good way to move forward. And it does look scary, but at the same time, it's going to take a little while. Right now, as much as people think AI is just going to take over and take their jobs tomorrow, it is actually quite expensive at the moment. Currently, it doesn't matter what you use to do any kind of AI system, AI art, AI writing, AI video editing, it all costs you something monthly, and it can get quite expensive. And then, yes, there's a lot of people that's like, it can be ran locally. Yes, it can be ran locally. That's even more expensive when you think about it, because most of these AI things require unreasonable computing power. Like, the computing power required for most of them is ridiculous on a whole new level. Like, I saw a video yesterday about the guy coming talking about one of the new models, how it doesn't require anything at all. You can run it on a basic computer, and he was talking about how it requires a graphics card that has 8 GB of RAM, so you can run it in your everyday laptop. I don't have an everyday laptop. I have a laptop that I bought specifically for video editing, and it does not have 8 GB of RAM. It has 1 GB of video RAM. Granted, it has 64 of regular RAM, which is DDR RAM. It has quite fast. It has 64 of that because it needs processing power, and regular RAM is required more than video RAM when it comes to video editing. Because yes, it does. Video RAM does actually make a difference when you come to rendering your final product, but having more actual RAM at your disposal while you're editing is a lot more advantageous than actual higher video RAM. This is why I went for a laptop with a crazy amount of actual RAM versus a higher video RAM, because it makes more sense. Saying that, I actually mean 8 GB of RAM for a graphics card is not an old laptop, and it's not an old everyday computer. That is a high-end gaming computer to have 8 GB of RAM in its graphics card. And a lot of the software that's open source that you can download to your computer and you can run, most of them use 12 to 20 GB of video RAM, which is a very high-end computer, like really expensive. Like, the graphics card that would run these software is approaching maybe $400, $500 just for the graphics card. I saw they released a new graphics card that has 12 GB of video RAM, and it's not an actual graphics card, it's standalone to run AI on, and it costs $700. And that's all it is. No computer, no nothing. All it is the graphics component off it to run an AI. $700, and it's only one little small thing plugs into a computer. That's $700. That's expensive. Yes, $700 for one system, and you think, well, if a company wants to replace its employees, $700 is not much. If they're gonna replace it, $700, and it's long term, that's all it's gonna cost them is $700 at one time. It's like, yes, that's true, but then you actually need somebody to set it up, and you need a developer to set it up, and you need a place to run it. You actually still need another computer that can stand alone with it and can actually run that software and actually compatible with the other hardware at the same time. So it's like $700 plus maybe another $400 or $500 for a basic computer that can run that system also. So when you see it that way, the price goes up, and it gets up there pretty quickly, because that is, every little thing adds up, and it adds up really fast, because most things required to run AI requires a graphics card, it requires a GPU, and a lot of them require an NVIDIA GPU. And you could use an AMD GPU, which is much cheaper for the amount of power you can get out of it, but it's not as compatible. So a lot of times it requires more work, and it may not always run the AI as efficiently as a NVIDIA one, which is why NVIDIA GPUs are so expensive. But that right now is currently the bottleneck for AI and AI development and AI moving forward to take over like jobs and replace a lot of stuff. It's the cost to do it right now. The cost is not as advantageous, and it takes too long to implement, and the AI that you implement can't do everything you want it to do, and you still need somebody there to do a lot of the overseeing and a lot of workings on it. So you will need to train your staff in addition to getting all these things set up and running. So right now, it's not actually that feasible for a lot of large companies to just completely replace their staff with AI, because it would cost them the cost to benefit was not there yet. But as more development goes into AI and more development goes into computer systems and more software development is streamlined, they will actually get to the point where the costs advantages actually start coming down. So the cost of deploying an AI system in a company locally, so not running it from a cloud, will actually start going down. And it already starts to go down gradually, not very quickly, but it's going to start going down right now. And this will probably happen fairly soon. It's bound to happen fairly soon, where there's going to be one of two things happen. Something's going to either happen that drives down the cost of the hardware, just like the cost of the hardware went up really rapidly once it started selling as much as it did, or what I actually think is going to actually happen, more likely to happen, is AI is going to start depending less heavily on GPU memory, and it's going to actually drive the cost of deploying AI down significantly. Because if an AI developer focuses more on having the AI run quickly, but maybe they sacrifice some speed, so maybe instead of having your reply be instant, they have a 4 or 5 second delay, but the AI no longer has to rely completely on a GPU. So instead of using 16 gigabytes of RAM from your GPU, it uses maybe 500, and then it uses 10 gigabytes of RAM from your PC itself, from your regular CPU. That would drive the cost of that AI model being able to be used on a regular computer down significantly. And then would that drive the cost of deploying the AI down significantly to a almost everyday computer? That would mean a lot more people can use it. A lot more people will be able to develop that AI model, especially if once that model gets out more into the public, there'll be a lot more companies that can develop more things onto that model. So you can have a lot more AI programs running. And once one company does it, a lot of other companies will focus heavily on that because they see it happening with one system. They're going to focus heavily on it to do it with their models also. Just like when DeepSeek came out, a lot of these other companies like ChatGPT and Google, they all refocused their AI instead of being so heavily dependent on these super large data sets to making them more compact data sets that can give the similar results as DeepSeek was doing. That was a way they saw that it could be done, and so a lot of these companies refocused and said, yeah, it can be done by these companies, so we're going to do it ourselves also. And we have to do it ourselves because we're no longer competitive if we don't. But hopefully, as this happens, it opens up new avenues for different things that are going on also. And it's not just used specifically to replace people so that companies can make more money and have to spend less money, which would inevitably put more people out of work, which means companies won't make as much money because there'll be nobody buying their stuff. But we have to see what the future holds, and hopefully it has a good result. And it's probably going to happen quite soon. But that's it for now. I'll see you guys in the next one, which is going to be more heavily focused on writing. But hopefully that's what I'm going to be doing again soon.